Picture this. The lights fade in on America's forgotten pocket legends, 6 small golden coins that once passed silently through millions of hands, yet carry the weight of power, ambition, triumph, and tragedy. The Presidential Dollar Series is not just money, it is a time machine, starting with George Washington, the general who became the first symbol of unity, then Thomas Jefferson, the thinker who dreamed freedom into ink, James Madison, the quiet architect who built a nation's bones, James Monroe, who watched America step onto the world stage, John Adams, the fiery voice of independence, who paid a personal price for leadership, and Abraham Lincoln, the face of sacrifice, whose shadow still stretches across history. Each coin spins like a reel in a movie, revealing wars won, ideas, written lives lost, and futures shaped. These dollars were meant to circulate, but instead they vanished, becoming modern myths. Collectors whisper about their edges, their dates, their hidden stories. Every scratch feels like a heartbeat from another era. Hold one. And you are not just holding metal. You are holding the moment a president made a choice that changed everything. 6 coins, 6 destinies, 1 cinematic journey through the rise of a nation that still echoes every time these dollars catch the light. The Presidential Dollar Coin Program is one of the most ambitious modern coin programs in United States history, and it begins with the image of George Washington, the first president of the United States and one of the most important figures in American history. The idea behind the Presidential Dollar Coin was not only to honor past presidents, but also to educate the public about American leadership, civic values, and national heritage through circulating currency. George Washington was chosen as the first coin in the series because he symbolizes the birth of the nation, independence, leadership, unity, and sacrifice, and no other president holds a place as central to American identity as he does. The Presidential Dollar Coin Program was authorized by the Presidential $1 Coin Act of 2005, which was signed into law with the goal of revitalizing interest in dollar coins and reducing reliance on paper dollar bills. The program officially began in 2007 and featured coins released in the order in which presidents served, starting with George Washington, followed by John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison. George Washington's coin was released first in February 2007 and marked the official launch of the series, making it historically significant even within an already symbolic program. The obverse of the George Washington Presidential Dollar Coin features a portrait of George Washington facing forward, unlike the traditional left-facing profile used on the quarter dollar. The design was created to present Washington in a dignified presidential style rather than a revolutionary military image. His name, George Washington, appears prominently on the coin, along with the inscription "First President" and the years 1789 to 1797, which represent his 2 terms in office. This was the first time in American coinage history that Washington appeared on a circulating coin other than the quarter dollar which he had occupied since 1932. The reverse of the coin is shared across all presidential dollar coins and depicts the Statue of Liberty holding a torch symbolizing freedom, enlightenment, and democracy. The inscription, "United States of America and $1, appears on the reverse, emphasizing the coin's value and national identity. The use of the Statue of Liberty rather than a presidential building or seal was intentional, as it reinforces the idea that the presidency serves the people and the ideals of liberty rather than personal power. One of the most unique aspects of the George Washington Presidential Dollar Coin is the edge lettering, which was a major departure from traditional American coin designs. Instead of placing inscriptions on the obverse or reverse, the coin features edge lettering that includes the year of minting, the mint mark, and the mottos E Pluribus Unum and In God We Trust. This edge lettering sparked significant public attention and controversy, especially when early coins were discovered missing the inscriptions due to minting errors. These so-called godless dollars became famous and highly collectible, creating widespread awareness of the new coin series almost overnight. The composition of the George Washington Presidential Dollar Coin is a copper core with outer layers of manganese brass, giving it a golden color, even though it contains no actual gold. This composition was chosen to differentiate the dollar coin from other circulating coins and to make it visually appealing and easily recognizable. The coin has a diameter of 26.5 millimeters and weighs 8.1 grams, making it similar in size to the Sacagawea dollar which preceded it. The smooth edge combined with the edge lettering made it feel unique in hand compared to other U.S. coins. George Washington's presidency from 1789 to 1797 laid the foundation for the entire American political system, and the coin reflects this importance by placing him at the beginning of the presidential dollar series. Washington set critical precedents, including the peaceful transfer of power, the formation of a cabinet, the establishment of a national bank, and the decision to step down after 2 terms, which became a tradition, followed by future presidents for more than a century. These achievements are not explicitly written on the coin, but are symbolically represented by his leading position in the series. The release of the George Washington presidential dollar coin was accompanied by a large educational campaign by the United States Mint. Schools, collectors, and history enthusiasts were encouraged to learn about each president as new coins were released. The Mint provided lesson plans, historical summaries, and collector albums to promote engagement with American history. George Washington's coin served as the gateway into this educational effort, making it one of the most widely discussed modern U.S. coins at the time of release. Despite its historical and educational significance, the George Washington presidential dollar coin faced challenges in circulation. Like previous dollar coins, Americans continued to prefer paper currency, and many coins ended up stored in vaults rather than used in daily transactions. This limited circulation ironically increased collector interest, especially for high-grade, uncirculated examples and error coins. Coins from the Philadelphia and Denver mints were produced in large quantities, but many remain in excellent condition due to minimal use. Error varieties of the George Washington presidential dollar coin are among the most famous in modern numismatics. Missing edge lettering doubled inscriptions, and inverted lettering varieties became highly sought after shortly after release. These errors highlighted the experimental nature of edge lettering on mass-produced U.S. coins and added an unexpected layer of excitement to the program. Some early error coins sold for significant premiums, capturing media attention and drawing new collectors into the hobby. The decision to include George Washington in the presidential dollar series was initially controversial because Washington had previously been excluded from eligibility under the program rules, since living presidents and those already featured on circulating coins were not supposed to be included. However, Congress made an exception, recognizing Washington's unmatched historical importance. This exception further emphasizes his unique status among American presidents and reinforces why his appearance on the first presidential dollar coin was both symbolic and necessary. Over time, the George Washington presidential dollar coin has come to represent more than just a unit of currency. It symbolizes an effort to reconnect Americans with their history through everyday objects and serves as a reminder of the principles upon which the nation was founded. Liberty, leadership, unity, and sacrifice are all embodied in Washington's image and in the story behind the coin's creation. Today, the George Washington presidential dollar coin remains a key piece in modern U.S. coin collections. While it may not circulate widely, it holds enduring educational, historical, and symbolic value. For collectors, it represents the beginning of a major numismatic series, and for historians, it stands as a tribute to the man who helped shape the American Republic. As time passes, the coin continues to tell the story of George Washington not through words or monuments, but through metal artistry passed from hand to hand, preserving history in a tangible form. Beyond its release and design, the George Washington presidential dollar coin also reflects the story of American coinage itself. Historically, Washington's image had only appeared on the quarter dollar starting in 1932 to commemorate his 200th birthday. That coin became iconic, but it was primarily for collectors and small transactions. The Presidential Dollar Program was a deliberate attempt to elevate the $1 coin into broader public awareness, showing that coins could tell stories about leadership and nation-building, not just function as currency. This was a bold move in an era where people overwhelmingly preferred paper dollars over coins. George Washington himself is inseparable from the early history of the United States, and understanding his presidency helps explain why the coin holds such significance. He led the Continental Army through the Revolutionary War, facing incredible challenges, lack of resources, and internal dissent. His leadership was tested repeatedly, and he emerged not only as a military hero, but as a unifying figure. This story of perseverance, courage, and integrity is encoded in the symbolism of the coin, reminding citizens that leadership carries responsibility and sacrifice. The coin also captures the narrative of the founding era, when the nation faced questions about its identity, governance, and international standing. During his presidency, Washington navigated the creation of the Bill of Rights, the establishment of the Supreme Court, and the development of the executive branch itself. Each of these milestones contributes to why he is celebrated as the first president on the Presidential Dollar Series. The coin, therefore, does more than commemorate a person. It commemorates the birth of American institutions that continue to shape life today. The minting process of the George Washington coin is also historically significant. The U.S. Mint faced unprecedented technical challenges with edge lettering, and learning to produce millions of coins with inscriptions on the edge required innovation in machinery and quality control. These experiments made the coin an important chapter in the story of modern coin manufacturing. Collectors remember the early godless dollars as iconic errors, and these coins now serve as teaching tools about quality control, design, and the complexity of minting currency. Public reception of the George Washington presidential dollar coin was mixed at first. Many Americans were curious about its appearance, but unsure about using it in everyday transactions. Some retailers did not recognize it, and it was heavier and thicker than paper dollars, so it was often saved rather than spent. Over time, however, the coin became a staple in educational programs, collector sets, and commemorative displays. Schools, museums, and historical societies began using the coin to teach young people about George Washington's leadership, the presidency, and the values of the early republic. Another interesting aspect is the coin's connection to numismatic culture. Because the George Washington coin launched a series featuring all U.S. presidents, it sparked enthusiasm among collectors. Coin albums specifically designed for the Presidential Dollar Series became popular. Collectors compared mint marks, polished finishes, errors, and proof sets. Washington's coin, as the first in the series, became particularly sought after, not only for its design but for its symbolic importance. In fact, uncirculated and proof versions often command higher prices than coins in everyday circulation. The coin also influenced future U.S. coin programs. The popularity of the presidential dollar led to renewed interest in designing coins that celebrate history, culture, and national achievement. It paved the way for other thematic series, such as the Native American $1 coin program and commemorative quarters celebrating states, national parks, and historical events. In this sense, the George Washington presidential dollar coin is more than a single coin. It is the beginning of a modern era of U.S. commemorative coinage designed to educate and inspire. From a cultural perspective, the coin represents continuity and national memory. George Washington is often invoked as a moral and civic exemplar, and this coin allows Americans to carry a tangible piece of history in their hands. It is remarkable to think that a coin designed for daily commerce also carries the weight of centuries of historical narrative, from colonial struggle to revolution, from the crafting of a constitution to the establishment of enduring traditions in governance. Each time someone holds or examines the coin, they are connecting with that history. Even today, the George Washington presidential dollar coin remains relevant. Numismatic scholars study its production, variations, and historical context. Historians use it as a teaching tool, showing how material culture can transmit knowledge. Collectors treasure it as the first chapter in a complete series that spans the nation's entire presidential history. Its golden color, edge lettering, and dignified portrait make it visually distinctive, while its story enriches public understanding of the United States' founding era. Finally, the coin is a reminder of Washington's lasting legacy. He was a soldier, a statesman, and a visionary leader whose actions shaped the course of the young republic. The coin immortalizes his contributions not just on paper or in textbooks, but in metal that circulates among the people. It is a physical reminder that leadership, courage, and dedication matter, and that even something as ordinary as a coin can carry extraordinary meaning. The Presidential Dollar Coin series was created to honor the presidents of the United States in the order they served, and one of the important figures in this series is John Quincy Adams, who was the 6th President of the United States and the son of John Adams, the 2nd President. His appearance on the Presidential Dollar Coin represents both his presidency and his lifelong service to the nation. The coin featuring John Quincy Adams was released in 2008 as part of the ongoing Presidential Dollar Coin Program, which began in 2007 under the authority of the Presidential $1 Coin Act of 2005. This act was signed into law to recognize former presidents and to educate the public about American history through circulating coinage. John Quincy Adams was born on July 11, 1767, in Braintree, Massachusetts, which is now Quincy, Massachusetts. He grew up during the American Revolution and spent much of his childhood traveling with his father, who served as a diplomat in Europe. This early exposure to international politics shaped his future career. Adams was highly educated and spoke multiple languages, which was rare at the time. He later became a diplomat, senator, secretary of state, and eventually president before serving many years in the House of Representatives, making him one of the most experienced public servants in American history. The Presidential Dollar Coin, featuring John Quincy Adams, shows a portrait of him facing right, which follows the traditional style of the series. The design is based on historical likenesses and official portraits of Adams. His name, John Quincy Adams, appears on the coin, along with the order number indicating that he was the 6th President of the United States. Unlike traditional U.S. coins, the presidential dollar coins do not show the year of minting or the mottos on the front. Instead, these details are placed on the edge of the coin. This includes the year of issue, the mint mark, and the mottos. In God we trust, e pluribus unum. The reverse side of the coin features the Statue of Liberty, which is common to all presidential dollar coins. This design symbolizes freedom and democracy and creates a consistent look across the entire series. The Statue of Liberty reverse was designed to unify the collection while allowing the obverse portraits to highlight individual presidents. The coin is made of a manganese brass alloy, giving it a golden color, although it contains no actual gold. The John Quincy Adams Presidential Dollar Coin was minted at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint in 2008. Millions of coins were produced for circulation, although public demand for dollar coins was relatively low during this period. As a result, many coins were stored by the government and never widely used in everyday transactions. Despite this, the coins remain popular among collectors and history enthusiasts. John Quincy Adams' presidency lasted from 1825 to 1829 and was marked by significant challenges. He was elected in a controversial election decided by the House of Representatives after no candidate won a majority of the electoral votes. This event became known as the corrupt bargain. Although Adams himself denied any wrongdoing, His presidency focused on national development, including support for infrastructure, education, and scientific advancement. However, his ambitious plans were often blocked by political opposition led by Andrew Jackson and his supporters. After losing re-election, Adams did something no other former president had done at that time. He returned to public service by being elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served for nearly 17 years. During this period, he became a strong opponent of slavery and fought against the gag rule, which prevented discussion of anti-slavery petitions. His courage and dedication to moral principles earned him respect and admiration long after his presidency. The inclusion of John Quincy Adams in the Presidential Dollar Coin series honors not only his time as president, but also his lifelong commitment to public service and human rights. The coin serves as an educational tool, reminding Americans of his contributions to diplomacy law and the fight against slavery. Collectors value the coin as part of the larger presidential series and as a tribute to one of the most intellectually accomplished leaders in U.S. history. The Presidential Dollar Coin program itself was designed to release 4 coins per year in the order of presidential service. Only presidents who had been deceased for at least 2 years were eligible. This rule ensured historical perspective and respect. The John Quincy Adams coin fits perfectly within this structure, representing an early period in American presidential history. Today, the John Quincy Adams presidential dollar coin continues to be collected by numismatists around the world. It is often found in uncirculated condition due to limited circulation, and government storage sets that include both Philadelphia and Denver Mint versions are especially popular among collectors. The coin stands as a reminder of Adams' dedication to the nation and the enduring legacy of the early American Republic. John Quincy Adams, life before and after the presidency, adds even greater depth to why his image was chosen for the presidential dollar coin. His early diplomatic career was one of the most remarkable in American history. At just 14 years old, he served as a secretary to the U.S. Minister to Russia. This experience exposed him to European politics and diplomacy at a very young age. Over time, he became one of the most skilled diplomats the United States ever produced. He later served as minister to the Netherlands, Prussia, Russia, and Great Britain, and played a key role in negotiating important treaties that shaped the future of the nation. One of John Quincy Adams' greatest achievements came during his time as Secretary of State under President James Monroe. From 1817 to 1825, he was the chief architect of American foreign policy. During this period, he helped negotiate the Adams-Onis Treaty with Spain, which resulted in the United States acquiring Florida and clearly defining the border between the U.S. and Spanish territory in North America. This treaty strengthened American influence and expanded the nation's territory peacefully through diplomacy rather than war. Adams also played a central role in shaping the Monroe Doctrine, which warned European powers against further colonization in the Americas. While President Monroe announced the doctrine, Adams was the intellectual force behind it. He believed strongly in American independence and sovereignty and wanted to protect the Western Hemisphere from European interference. This doctrine became a cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy for generations and remains one of the most significant statements in American diplomatic history. When John Quincy Adams became president in 1825, he entered office with bold ideas for national improvement. He believed the federal government should support roads, canals, scientific research observatories, and education. He envisioned a modern nation connected by infrastructure and guided by knowledge. However, many Americans at the time viewed these ideas as too ambitious or unconstitutional. Political opposition limited what he could accomplish during his presidency. This resistance weakened his leadership and prevented him from achieving many of his goals. The controversial election of 1824 deeply affected Adams' presidency. The election involved 4 major candidates, and no one received a majority of electoral votes. The decision was sent to the House of Representatives, which selected Adams as president. Andrew Jackson, who had won the most popular and electoral votes, felt betrayed. when Adams later appointed Henry Clay as Secretary of State. Jackson's supporters accused them of a corrupt bargain. This accusation followed Adams throughout his presidency and damaged his public image, even though no proof of wrongdoing was ever established. After leaving the presidency, Adams refused to retire quietly. Instead, he returned to public service in a way that reshaped his legacy. In 1831, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served until his death. This made him the only former president to serve so long in Congress. During this period, he became one of the strongest voices against slavery. He defended the right of citizens to petition Congress and fought tirelessly against the gag rule, which sought to silence anti-slavery discussions. John Quincy Adams' role in the Amistad case further cemented his legacy as a defender of human rights. In 1841, he argued before the Supreme Court on behalf of enslaved Africans who had rebelled aboard the Spanish ship, Amistad. Adams passionately argued that they were illegally enslaved and deserved freedom. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Africans, and Adams' efforts were widely praised. This moment showed his lifelong commitment to justice and moral principles. The presidential dollar coin featuring John Quincy Adams symbolizes not just his presidency, but his entire career of service. The coin honors his diplomatic brilliance, his vision for national development, and his moral courage in opposing slavery. His inclusion in the series highlights that leadership is not defined by popularity alone, but by dedication to principles and long-term impact on the nation. From a numismatic perspective, the John Quincy Adams presidential dollar coin is part of a historically themed program that brought presidential history into everyday life. The edge lettering process used on these coins was unique and initially caused public interest when some coins were discovered missing edge inscriptions. These so-called error coins increased attention to the series and made certain examples more collectible. Although most John Quincy Adams coins were properly struck, the existence of edge lettering errors added excitement for collectors. The golden color of the coin often leads people to believe it contains gold, but in reality, it is composed of manganese brass. The alloy was chosen for durability and visual appeal. The weight, diameter, and thickness are standardized across the presidential dollar series, making them easy to identify and collect. The Statue of Liberty on the reverse represents shared American ideals, connecting all presidents in the series regardless of their political differences. Today, the John Quincy Adams presidential dollar coin is widely available in mint sets, proof versions, and uncirculated rolls. Proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint feature sharp details and mirror-like finishes, making them especially attractive to collectors. These coins are often preserved as historical artifacts rather than used in circulation, ensuring their condition remains excellent. The legacy of John Quincy Adams continues to grow over time. Historians now recognize him as one of the most forward-thinking leaders of his era. His opposition to slavery, his support for education and science, and his belief in national unity resonate strongly in modern discussions of American values. The presidential dollar coin ensures that his contributions are remembered by future generations and that his face remains a symbol of dedication, intelligence, and service to the United States. The 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin is part of the United States Presidential $1 Coin Program, a historic modern coin series that was created to honor the presidents of the United States in the order in which they served, and this program officially began in the year 2007, following the passage of the Presidential $1 Coin Act of 2005. The goal of the program was to recognize former presidents, improve public interest in American history, and encourage the use of dollar coins in everyday commerce. Andrew Jackson was selected as the 7th president to be honored because he served as the 7th president of the United States from 1829 to 1837, and his coin was released into circulation in 2008. Andrew Jackson himself is one of the most complex and controversial figures in American history. He was born in 1767 in the Waxhaws region near the border of North and South Carolina, and he grew up in difficult conditions, losing much of his family. During the American Revolutionary War, his early life was marked by hardship, violence, and survival, which later shaped his tough and combative personality. Jackson became a lawyer, moved to Tennessee, and built a successful career as a frontier leader, military officer, and politician. He gained national fame as a general during the War of 1812, especially for his victory at the Battle of New Orleans, which made him a national hero and earned him the nickname Old Hickory. When Andrew Jackson became president, he presented himself as a champion of the common man and positioned his presidency as a break from what he described as elite control of government. His election marked the rise of Jacksonian democracy, which expanded political participation for white male citizens by reducing property ownership requirements. However, his presidency is also remembered for deeply controversial policies, including the Indian Removal Act, which led to the forced relocation of Native American tribes, and resulted in immense suffering and loss of life during what became known as the Trail of Tears. This complicated legacy makes Andrew Jackson one of the most debated presidents in American history and adds historical depth to his appearance on a modern coin. The 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the P Mint mark, and coins from this mint were produced for circulation as well as for collectors. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Andrew Jackson facing left, which is consistent with the design style of the presidential dollar series. His image is strong and formal, reflecting traditional presidential portraiture, and around the portrait are the inscriptions Andrew Jackson and the years 1829-1837, which represent his time in office. The obverse design was created by sculptor-engraver Joel Iskowitz, and the coin was engraved by Charles L. Vickers, both of whom contributed to multiple designs within the presidential dollar program. One of the most distinctive features of the presidential dollar coins, including the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson coin, is that the date, mint mark, and mottos are not on the front or back of the coin, but instead appear on the edge. This edge lettering includes the year of issue, the mint mark, and the inscriptions, E pluribus unum, in God we trust. Although some early issues of the series sparked public discussion because the motto, In God we trust, was moved from the obverse to the edge, which was unusual for U.S. coins, this decision was later revised for subsequent years. The reverse of the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin features a powerful and symbolic image of the Statue of Liberty holding a torch. This design was used across the entire presidential dollar series and represents freedom, democracy, and the enduring ideals of the United States. Surrounding the image are the inscriptions, United States of America, and $1. The reverse was designed by Don Everhart, and it serves as a unifying element connecting all the presidents in the series regardless of their individual histories. The coin is composed of a manganese brass clad, which gives it a golden appearance. Even though it does not contain gold, the composition includes copper, zinc, manganese, and nickel, and this combination was chosen to provide durability while also visually distinguishing the dollar coin from other denominations. The coin has a diameter of 26.5 millimeters and a smooth edge, interrupted by the incused edge lettering, which is unique among modern U.S. circulating coins. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced tens of millions of Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coins in 2008 as part of the regular circulation strike. Because of this high mintage, the coin is generally common in circulated condition and is not considered rare. However, uncirculated examples, especially those preserved in mint condition, can still be desirable to collectors, particularly those assembling complete presidential dollar sets. Collector interest also increases for coins with sharp edge lettering, strong luster, and minimal contact marks. There are also numismatic discussions surrounding variations in edge lettering alignment. Some coins show the lettering facing one direction, while others appear inverted, depending on how the coin was fed into the edge lettering machine. These variations are considered normal and not errors, but they add an extra layer of interest for collectors examining the coin closely. The 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin also plays an important role in the broader story of modern U.S. coinage. The presidential dollar program was ambitious in scope, but faced challenges due to limited public use of dollar coins. Many of these coins were eventually produced primarily for collectors rather than widespread circulation. Despite this, the series succeeded in educating the public about American presidents and brought renewed attention to U.S. numismatic history. Andrew Jackson's appearance on a dollar coin is also historically ironic because during his lifetime he strongly opposed paper money and centralized banking and was famously involved in the bank war against the Second Bank of the United States. His face appearing on a modern dollar coin reflects the evolving nature of American currency and historical memory. Today, the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin stands as both a collectible item and a historical artifact. It represents a specific moment in U.S. coinage history, a controversial but influential president, and an ambitious attempt to reconnect everyday money with the nation's past for collectors, historians, and casual viewers alike. This coin tells a story that goes far beyond its face value, connecting politics, culture, power, and memory through metal and design. As the presidential dollar coin program continued to unfold, the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson dollar became part of a larger educational mission aimed at reminding Americans of the nation's leadership journey through time. Schools, collectors, historians, and casual viewers all found value in revisiting the life of Andrew Jackson through this coin, because currency often serves as a portable history lesson carried in pockets and wallets. Even though the dollar coin was not widely used in daily transactions, its symbolism remained powerful, and its presence reinforced the idea that money can tell stories beyond economics. Andrew Jackson's presidency fundamentally changed the nature of the American presidency. Before his time, presidents often governed with restraint and deference to Congress, but Jackson expanded executive power through frequent use of the veto, believing that the president should directly represent the will of the people. This shift permanently altered the balance of power within the federal government and established precedents that future presidents would follow. His assertive leadership style made him beloved by supporters and fiercely criticized by opponents, creating political divisions that still echo in discussions of American democracy. Jackson's economic policies also left a lasting imprint on American financial history. His opposition to the Second Bank of the United States stemmed from his belief that it favored wealthy elites and foreign interests over ordinary citizens. He vetoed the recharter of the bank and removed federal deposits, redirecting them to state banks, a decision that contributed to economic instability and eventually to the Panic of 1837, which occurred shortly after he left office. This financial turbulence is an important part of his legacy and adds depth to the symbolism of his image on a dollar coin. The Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin therefore represents more than just a portrait. It reflects debates over democracy, federal power, economic control, and social justice. Jackson's policies toward Native American tribes, especially forced removals, remain one of the darkest chapters of American history, and modern discussions about his legacy often focus on these actions. The coin exists within this complex historical context, reminding viewers that American history is not only about achievements, but also about consequences and accountability. From a numismatic perspective, the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson coin marks a period when the United States experimented with innovative coin design features. Edge lettering revived a technique used in early American coins, linking modern currency to 18th and 19th century traditions. This deliberate design choice connected the new presidential dollar coins to the early era of the Republic, when figures like Andrew Jackson himself lived and shaped the nation. Collectors often appreciate the Andrew Jackson presidential dollar as a key piece in understanding the evolution of modern U.S. coin programs. It sits between the early excitement of the series and the later years when production shifted largely to collector demand. Uncirculated rolls, mint sets, and proof versions became increasingly important to numismatists who wanted to preserve the series. In pristine condition, the Philadelphia Mint issues remain popular for those building complete date and mint collections. The coin also sparks discussion about representation on currency over time. Debates have emerged about which historical figures deserve to be honored on money, and whether modern values should influence these choices. Andrew Jackson's presence on both paper currency and coins has made him a focal point in these conversations, showing how coins are not just metal objects, but reflections of cultural memory and national identity. In museums, classrooms, and private collections, the 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin continues to serve as a conversation starter. It bridges the early 19th century and the 21st century, linking frontier America with modern minting technology. Its golden color, smooth finish, and detailed engraving give it a contemporary look, while its subject connects directly to the formative years of the United States. Ultimately, this coin stands as a reminder that every piece of currency carries layered meaning. The 2008 P. Andrew Jackson presidential dollar coin captures ambition, conflict, progress, and controversy all in one small disc of metal, making it an enduring symbol of how American history is remembered, debated, and passed from one generation to the next. The 2009 United States James K. Polk presidential dollar coin is part of the Presidential $1 coin program, which was launched by the United States Mint to honor the presidents of the United States in the order they served in office. This program began in 2007 and was created to celebrate the history, leadership, and legacy of America's presidents, while also encouraging the public to use dollar coins in everyday transactions. James K. Polk was the 11th President of the United States, and his coin was released in 2009 as the 9th coin issued in the series honoring presidents who were no longer living at the time the program began. James K. Polk served as president from 1845 to 1849 and is often remembered as one of the most effective single-term presidents in American history. His presidency was marked by major territorial expansion and bold leadership. Polk was a strong believer in manifest destiny, which was the idea that the United States was destined to expand westward across the North American continent. During his time in office, the nation acquired vast new territories, including present-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming. This expansion dramatically reshaped the future of the United States and helped transform it into a continental power. The design of the James K. Polk presidential dollar coin follows the standard format of the presidential dollar series. The obverse of the coin features a detailed portrait of James K. Polk, facing left. His name appears prominently along with the order number of his presidency and the years he served in office. The portrait was created by United States Mint sculptor Don Everhart and captures Polk with a serious, focused expression reflecting his determined personality and disciplined leadership style. The edge of the coin carries the inscriptions, including the year of minting the mint mark, the mottos, "In God We Trust," and "A Pluribus Unum," which were moved to the edge for this series. The reverse of the coin features the Statue of Liberty, a common design used for all presidential dollar coins. The Statue of Liberty symbolizes freedom, democracy, and the enduring ideals of the nation. The reverse was designed by sculptor Don Everhart as well, and provides a consistent unifying image across the entire presidential dollar program, while allowing each president to be uniquely honored on the obverse. The 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar was minted at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint coins. From the Philadelphia Mint carry a P Mint mark, while coins from the Denver Mint carry a D Mint mark. No proof versions were produced for general circulation, but proof coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint specifically for collectors. These proof coins feature a highly polished surface and frosted details, making them especially attractive to numismatists. James K. Polk as a historical figure is fascinating, and his legacy adds depth to the significance of this coin. He was known for his strong work ethic and micromanagement style, often working long hours and personally overseeing government operations. Polk made 4 major campaign promises and remarkably achieved all of them during his single term. These promises included reducing tariffs, re-establishing the independent treasury, settling the Oregon boundary dispute with Great Britain, and acquiring California from Mexico. His success in fulfilling these goals earned him a reputation as a highly effective president. Despite his accomplishments, Polk chose not to seek re-election and retired after 1 term. Sadly, he did not enjoy retirement for long as he passed away only a few months after leaving office. His intense dedication to his duties likely took a toll on his health, making his story both impressive and tragic. This background gives the James K. Polk presidential dollar coin greater historical weight as it represents a president who profoundly shaped the nation in a very short time. From a collecting perspective, the 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar coin is generally affordable and widely available, especially in circulated condition. However, coins in high mint state condition, or certified by professional grading services, can carry added value. Proof versions from the San Francisco Mint are especially popular among collectors who focus on complete presidential dollar sets. The coin also holds educational value, making it a great starting point for new collectors interested in American history. The presidential dollar program itself faced challenges including limited public adoption of dollar coins and eventual changes to production policies. Even so, the series remains an important modern numismatic project, and the James K. Polk coin stands out because of the historical importance of his presidency. His leadership during a time of expansion war and transformation makes this coin more than just currency. It is a small, metal record of a defining chapter in American history. For YouTube viewers and history enthusiasts, the 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar coin offers a rich story that combines politics, expansion, ambition, and legacy. It serves as a reminder that even a single-term president can leave a lasting mark on a nation, and that coins are powerful storytellers connecting the present to the past through art, metal, and memory. James K. Polk was born on November 2, 1795, in Pineville, North Carolina, and grew up in a modest household. He studied law under private tutors and quickly showed an aptitude for politics. He moved to Tennessee as a young man, where he built a successful legal career and became active in the Democratic Party. Polk served in the Tennessee state legislature and was later elected to the United States House of Representatives, where he eventually became Speaker of the House. His rise through political ranks reflected both his intelligence and his unwavering determination. Polk also served as governor of Tennessee before being nominated for the presidency by the Democratic Party. His political career was marked by disciplined strategic thinking and a clear vision for the growth of the nation. Polk's presidency is often remembered for its foreign policy achievements, including the Oregon Treaty and the Mexican-American War. The Oregon Treaty of 1846 peacefully settled the boundary dispute, with Britain over the Oregon Territory establishing the 49th parallel as the border and avoiding potential conflict with a powerful European nation. This was a major diplomatic success and allowed the United States to expand peacefully in the Northwest. At the same time, Polk pursued the annexation of Texas and the acquisition of California and New Mexico through the Mexican-American War from 1846 to 1848. The war resulted in significant territorial gains for the United States through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, further fulfilling Polk's vision of manifest destiny. The economy during Polk's presidency also saw important developments. He supported lowering tariffs to encourage trade and the reestablishment of an independent treasury to stabilize government finances. His domestic policies reflected his commitment to fiscal responsibility and economic growth. Polk believed strongly in the power of government to support expansion and opportunity while keeping the nation financially secure. These achievements added to his reputation as a goal-oriented and highly effective leader. The James K. Polk presidential dollar coin represents more than just a monetary object. It embodies the story of a president who combined careful planning, bold vision, and tangible results. During his lifetime, Polk was considered a quiet yet forceful leader. His personal life was relatively private, and he was deeply devoted to his family and faith. He married Sarah Childress Polk, who was an intelligent and capable partner, supporting his political ambitions and helping maintain his image as a disciplined and moral leader. Collectors often note that the 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar coin is distinctive within the series because Polk is sometimes overlooked in popular memory despite his major contributions to the nation. His coin provides an opportunity to explore the complex history of mid-19th century America, including westward expansion debates over slavery and economic development. The coin's release in 2009 marked the continuation of a national effort to commemorate leaders who shaped the United States, and it encourages both casual observers and serious collectors to learn about the people behind the presidency. The design elements of the coin also have artistic significance. The portrait of Polk was carefully researched to reflect historical likenesses based on portraits and historical records. His expression conveys seriousness and determination, capturing the essence of a president who achieved so much in a single term. The inscriptions on the edge of the coin are unique to the presidential dollar series and were part of a broader innovation to reduce clutter on the coin faces while still including all required information. This edge lettering was initially met with curiosity by the public, but has since become a defining characteristic of the series and an interesting talking point for collectors and educators. In addition to its historical and artistic value, the 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar coin also serves an educational purpose. It is used in schools, museums, and numismatic programs to teach about the presidency, territorial expansion, and the political challenges of the 1840s. Understanding Polk's policies and achievements helps explain the rapid growth of the United States and the political debates that shaped the nation for generations. The coin thus acts as a tangible connection to history, allowing people to hold in their hands a piece of the story of American expansion and leadership. For those seeking to expand their coin collection, the James K. Polk presidential dollar coin is a key piece in the broader presidential dollar series, which eventually included 39 coins covering presidents from George Washington through Ronald Reagan. The series helped increase public interest in U.S. coinage and demonstrated how coins can serve both as legal tender and historical artifacts. Collectors value the Polk coin for its clarity of design, its representation of an impactful presidency, and its place in a larger series that tells the story of the American presidency from the founding era through the modern age. Ultimately, the 2009 James K. Polk presidential dollar coin is a small yet powerful reminder of the ability of individuals to shape history. Polk's focused leadership, his accomplishments in office, and his lasting influence on the territorial and political landscape of the United States make this coin a meaningful collectible and a fascinating subject for long-form historical discussion. It encourages reflection on the challenges of leadership, the consequences of decisions, and the ways in which the United States grew into the nation it is today. The story of the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar coin begins deep in American history, where the name Abraham Lincoln stands not only as a president, but as a symbol of unity, sacrifice, and resilience. Lincoln, born in 1809, rose from a log cabin childhood to become the 16th President of the United States, a leader whose life reshaped the destiny of a divided nation. His presidency from 1861 to 1865 unfolded during the darkest chapter of American history, the Civil War, a time when the country was torn apart by slavery, political division, and violence. Lincoln's determination to preserve the Union and end slavery forever made him one of the most revered figures in American history, and more than a century later, his legacy was honored again through the Presidential Dollar Coin Program. The Presidential Dollar Coin Program was launched by the United States Mint in 2007, with the goal of honoring every deceased president of the United States in the order they served. Beginning with George Washington, the program aimed to educate the public, encourage coin collecting, and increase the circulation of dollar coins. Abraham Lincoln's turn arrived in 2010, making him the fourth president featured that year, following Millard Fillmore, Franklin Pierce, and James Buchanan. But Lincoln's coin stood apart because his image already appeared on the 1-cent coin and the $5 bill, making this dollar coin another powerful tribute to his lasting influence. The 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar Coin features a dignified portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, showing his familiar bearded face, calm eyes, and strong expression, a reminder of the burden he carried during the nation's greatest crisis. The inscription includes his name, Abraham Lincoln, the years of his presidency, 1861 to 1865, and the word liberty. Along with the year 2010, the edge of the coin carries additional inscriptions including In God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, and the Mint Mark, a unique design feature of presidential dollars that separated them from traditional coin layouts. The reverse side of the coin displays the Statue of Liberty, a symbol chosen to represent freedom, democracy, and the ideals Lincoln fought to protect during the Civil War. Liberty stands tall, holding a torch and tablet representing enlightenment and law, a powerful image that ties Lincoln's legacy to the broader American promise of equality and justice. For all this reverse design was shared across the presidential dollar series, creating unity among the presidents while allowing each obverse to tell an individual story. The coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, both producing business strike versions for circulation as well as collector versions. Although by 2010, the presidential dollar coins were no longer released into general circulation due to low public demand. Instead, they were sold directly to collectors in rolls bags and annual mint sets, making the Lincoln presidential dollar more of a collector piece than a pocket coin. From a historical perspective, the timing of the Lincoln dollar carried special significance as it followed the bicentennial celebration of Lincoln's birth in 2009, a year filled with commemorative coins, events, and national reflection. The 2010 dollar coin extended that tribute, reminding collectors and historians that Lincoln's story does not end with monuments or textbooks, but continues through everyday objects like coins that pass history from hand to hand. In terms of value, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar Coin is generally affordable in circulated or uncirculated condition, making it accessible to new collectors, while high-grade examples certified by professional grading services can carry a premium, especially those with flawless surfaces, strong strikes, and clean edges. Errors, such as missing edge lettering, doubled inscriptions, or off-center strikes are rare but highly sought after and can dramatically increase the coin's worth, turning a simple dollar into a prized collectible. Beyond metal and minting, the true value of the 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar lies in the story. It represents a president who guided a fractured nation through war, abolished slavery, preserved the Union, and paid the ultimate price for his leadership. His assassination in 1865 shocked the world, but cemented his legacy as a martyr for freedom. Every time this coin is held, it serves as a reminder of sacrifice, courage, and the unfinished work of equality. For coin collectors, historians, and storytellers, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln Presidential Dollar Coin is more than a piece of copper alloy. It is a portable monument, a teaching tool, and a bridge between past and present, carrying the weight of history in a single dollar, a quiet but powerful tribute to one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known, and a reminder that history lives not only in books, but in the coins we collect, cherish, and pass on to future generations. Abraham Lincoln's journey to becoming a symbol worthy of a presidential dollar coin did not begin in power or privilege, but in hardship, struggle, and relentless self-education. Born on February 12, 1809, in a small log cabin in Kentucky, Lincoln grew up in extreme poverty, losing his mother at a young age and working long hours doing physical labor. Yet even in those harsh conditions, he developed a love for reading, borrowing books whenever possible, and teaching himself law, history, and politics. This self-made rise from frontier poverty to the presidency became one of the most powerful narratives in American history and made Lincoln a natural choice for lasting commemoration on U.S. coinage. Before becoming president, Lincoln served as a lawyer and a member of the Illinois state legislature, where he gained a reputation for honesty, earning the nickname Honest Abe, his debates with Stephen Douglas during the 1858 Senate race brought national attention to his views on slavery and the future of the nation. Although he lost that election, it set the stage for his presidential victory in 1860, a victory that immediately triggered the secession of Southern states and pushed the nation toward civil war. When Lincoln took office in 1861, the United States was on the brink of collapse. 7 states had already seceded and formed the Confederate States of America. Lincoln faced impossible choices, balancing military strategy, political pressure, and moral responsibility. His leadership during this period was marked by patience, resilience, and an unshakable belief that the Union must be preserved at all costs. This defining chapter of his life is what elevates his image on the 2010 presidential dollar beyond a simple portrait into a symbol of endurance during crisis. One of Lincoln's most important actions was the Emancipation Proclamation issued in 1863, which declared freedom for enslaved people in Confederate states. While it did not immediately end slavery, it transformed the Civil War into a moral fight for human freedom and laid the groundwork for the 13th Amendment, which permanently abolished slavery in the United States. This act alone reshaped the nation and forever linked Lincoln's legacy to liberty, making his appearance on the presidential dollar especially meaningful when paired with the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. The coin itself reflects this gravity through its restrained and respectful design. Lincoln's portrait is neither dramatic nor idealized. Instead, it presents him as thoughtful, burdened, and resolute, mirroring how historians remember him as a leader weighed down by responsibility, yet committed to justice. The inscriptions surrounding his image remind collectors of the brief but transformative years of his presidency, years that changed the course of American history forever. The edge lettering on the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar holds symbolic importance as well. In God We Trust, E Pluribus Unum, and the Mint mark appear along the edge, emphasizing unity, faith, and national identity phrases that resonated deeply during Lincoln's time when the country struggled to remain one nation out of many. The use of edge lettering also connects modern minting techniques to historical tradition, blending past and present into one collectible object. As part of the presidential dollar coin program, Lincoln's coin also represents an educational mission. The U.S. Mint intended these coins to spark curiosity and learning, encouraging people, especially younger generations, to explore presidential history. Each dollar coin acts as an entry point into deeper stories, and Lincoln's story is among the richest, offering lessons in leadership, compromise, moral courage, and perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. The decision to include Lincoln in the presidential dollar series, despite his already iconic presence on other U.S. currency, highlights his unmatched importance in American identity. While other presidents may appear only once on a coin or bill, Lincoln's repeated appearance reflects the depth of his influence and the continued relevance of his ideals, even in the modern era. When the 2010 coin was released, the nation still grappled with questions of equality, unity, and freedom, echoing the struggles Lincoln faced more than a century earlier. Collectors often view the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar as a bridge between history and modern numismatics. It connects the classic imagery of Lincoln known from the penny with the contemporary design language of the presidential dollar series, making it an essential piece for complete collections and historical sets. While its monetary value may be modest, its historical weight is immense. Every presidential dollar tells a story, but Lincoln's coin carries a narrative of transformation, sacrifice, and unfinished work. It reminds us that progress is never simple or complete, and that leadership requires courage during moments of division. As this coin passes through collections' hands and displays, it continues to speak silently of a president who believed that government of the people by the people and for the people should never perish from the earth. As the Civil War dragged on, Abraham Lincoln faced constant criticism from all sides. Generals, politicians, newspaper editors, and even members of his own cabinet doubted his abilities. Yet Lincoln possessed a rare inner strength and emotional intelligence. He listened carefully, weighed opposing arguments, and often waited patiently before acting, a quality that historians later recognized as one of his greatest leadership traits. This quiet resolve is reflected in the calm, steady expression chosen for his portrait on the 2010 presidential dollar, a face that seems to carry the weight of a nation. Lincoln's relationship with the military was complex. He cycled through multiple Union generals, searching for leaders who would fight aggressively while minimizing unnecessary loss of life. His eventual support of Ulysses S. Grant marked a turning point in the war. Grant's relentless strategy, combined with Lincoln's political backing, finally shifted momentum toward Union victory. This partnership altered the course of history and ensured that the sacrifices of countless soldiers were not in vain. In 1863, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, a speech lasting just a few minutes, yet reshaping the meaning of the war and redefining American democracy. His words emphasized equality, national purpose, and the idea that the nation was dedicated to a proposition that all men are created equal. This moment stands as one of the most powerful expressions of democratic ideals ever spoken, and its spirit lives quietly within the presidential dollar series, especially on Lincoln's coin, which pairs his image with liberty itself. The final years of Lincoln's presidency were marked by exhaustion, grief, and determination. He carried the emotional burden of war casualties and personal loss, including the death of his son Willie. Yet he continued pushing for reconciliation rather than revenge, advocating for a generous approach toward the defeated Southern states, his famous call for malice toward none and charity for all revealed a vision of healing rarely seen after civil conflict, a vision that tragically would never be fully realized under his leadership. Lincoln's assassination in April 1865, just days after the Confederate surrender, shocked the nation and transformed him from a wartime leader into a near-mythical figure. His death at Ford's Theater turned him into a symbol of sacrifice and martyrdom, freezing his image in American memory as the man who saved the Union and ended slavery. This moment cemented his status as a permanent figure on U.S. currency, leading first to his appearance on the penny in 1909, then later on the $5 bill, and finally on the presidential dollar in 2010. The creation of the presidential dollar coin program, more than a century after Lincoln's death, reflects how deeply his influence remained embedded in American culture. By 2010, his ideals were still referenced in political speeches, classrooms, and social movements, making his inclusion in the series feel less like a formality and more like a reaffirmation of national values. The coin became a reminder that leadership rooted in humility and moral clarity can shape generations. From a numismatic perspective, Lincoln's presidential dollar holds unique significance because it exists alongside his earlier coinage appearances. Collectors often compare the youthful, idealized Lincoln of the 1909 penny with the mature, burdened Lincoln of the 2010 dollar, highlighting how Artistic interpretation evolves with time. The dollar coin portrait emphasizes wisdom over youth experience, over optimism and reflection over ambition, mirroring how history ultimately remembers him. The year 2010 itself adds another layer of context as the United States faced economic uncertainty, political division, and social change, echoes of the challenges Lincoln once navigated. The release of his presidential dollar during this period felt symbolic, reminding the public that unity, perseverance, and moral leadership were still essential in modern times, even if expressed through a simple coin. For collectors, historians, and storytellers, the 2010 Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar becomes more than a collectible. It becomes a meditation on leadership, loss, and legacy. It invites reflection on how one individual's choices can ripple across centuries, shaping laws, freedoms, and national identity long after their lifetime ends. As this coin rests in albums, cases, or hands, it silently carries a message passed down through generations that democracy requires courage, that unity demands sacrifice, and that history is not distant or forgotten, but present in the objects we choose to remember. The 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin is part of the Presidential Dollar Coin Program of the United States, a program created to honor the presidents of the nation in the order they served, and Grover Cleveland holds a unique place in American history, because he is the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, making him both the 22nd and the 24th president. And because of this unusual distinction, he appears twice in the Presidential Dollar Series, once for his first term and once again for his second term, and the 2012 issue represents Grover Cleveland for his second term in office, which lasted from 1893 to 1897. And this makes the coin historically interesting not only as currency, but also as a symbol of one of the most unusual political careers in the history of the United States. Grover Cleveland was born in 1837 in New Jersey and grew up in modest circumstances, working his way up through determination, discipline, and a strong belief in honesty and reform. He eventually became mayor of Buffalo, then governor of New York, and later president, at a time when American politics was dominated by corruption, patronage, and political machines. Cleveland built his reputation as a reformer who opposed wasteful government spending and stood firmly against special interests, and this image followed him into the presidency, where he often used his veto power to block bills he believed were dishonest or harmful to the public treasury, earning him both admiration and strong opposition. Cleveland first became president in 1885, serving until 1889. After losing re-election, he made an extraordinary political comeback in 1892, defeating the incumbent and returning to the White House for a second term beginning in 1893. This second term is the focus of the 2012 presidential dollar coin, and it was one of the most challenging periods in American history, marked by economic hardship, social unrest, and major political decisions shortly. After Cleveland returned to office, the nation was struck by the Panic of 1893, one of the worst economic depressions of the 19th century. Banks failed, businesses collapsed, unemployment soared, and public confidence in the government was shaken. Cleveland believed deeply in limited government intervention and resisted calls for massive federal aid, arguing that economic recovery should come through private enterprise and sound monetary policy. One of the defining issues of Cleveland's second term was the debate over gold and silver currency. Cleveland was a strong supporter of the gold standard, believing it was essential for economic stability and international credibility. This put him at odds with many members of his own party who supported the free coinage of silver. Cleveland pushed through the repeal of the Sherman Silver Purchase Act, a move that angered silver supporters but pleased financial conservatives. This decision remains one of the most debated actions of his presidency, and it shaped the political landscape for years to come. Labor unrest was another major challenge during Cleveland's second term, most notably the Pullman strike of 1894, when railroad workers went on strike after wage cuts. The strike disrupted rail traffic across the country, and Cleveland responded by sending federal troops to restore order, arguing that the federal government had a responsibility to ensure the delivery of mail and interstate commerce. This decision was controversial and led to violent clashes, but it reinforced the authority of the federal government during times of national crisis. The Presidential Dollar Coin Program was authorized by Congress in 2005 with the goal of honoring past presidents and educating the public about American history. The coins were released in the order the president served and featured portraits of each president on the obverse, along with inscriptions of their name, term, years, and order of presidency, while the reverse features the Statue of Liberty symbolizing freedom and democracy. The edge lettering includes the year of minting the mint mark and the mottos, "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum." The 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin for his second term features a detailed portrait of Cleveland facing, right, capturing his strong features and dignified expression. The inscription includes his name, Grover Cleveland, the order, 24th president, and the years of his second term, 1893 to 1897. The design reflects the official style used throughout the series, maintaining consistency while honoring the individuality of each president. The coin was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and like other presidential dollars, it was primarily produced for collectors rather than widespread circulation due to declining demand for dollar coins. From a numismatic perspective, the 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin is interesting because it represents the second appearance of the same individual in the series, making it unique among the coins. Collectors often seek both Cleveland coins to complete the full presidential lineup and to highlight the unusual nature of his political career. While the coin is not rare in terms of mintage, its historical significance adds to its appeal, especially for those interested in American political history. The legacy of Grover Cleveland remains complex and deeply rooted in principles of integrity, fiscal responsibility, and independence. He was known for standing by his beliefs even when they were unpopular, and his second term tested those principles under immense pressure. The 2012 presidential dollar coin serves as a small but powerful reminder of a president who defied political norms, served the nation in two separate eras, and left a lasting mark on American governance. In the broader context of the presidential dollar series, the Grover Cleveland second-term coin represents more than just a face on metal. It represents continuity, change, resilience, and the enduring story of American democracy. Each coin in the series tells a chapter of the nation's history, and Cleveland's chapter is one of perseverance, return, and conviction-making. The 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin, a meaningful piece for collectors, historians, and anyone interested in the story of the United States, as Grover Cleveland's second term continued, the political atmosphere of the United States became even more divided, and his presidency increasingly isolated him from both major factions within his own Democratic Party. Cleveland believed strongly that the president should act as a guardian of the Constitution rather than a servant of popular opinion, and this belief shaped many of his most controversial decisions during the years 1893 to 1897. He rejected the idea that the federal government should directly support individuals during economic hardship, arguing that charity and relief were responsibilities of local communities and private organizations. This philosophy earned him respect among conservatives, but also harsh criticism from farmers, workers, and reformers who believed the government should play a more active role in protecting citizens during times of crisis. Foreign policy during Cleveland's second term was guided by a strong commitment to American sovereignty and non-intervention. Cleveland was particularly firm in defending the Monroe Doctrine, which opposed European interference in the Western Hemisphere. One of the most significant foreign policy events of his second term was the boundary dispute between Venezuela and British Guiana. Cleveland supported Venezuela's position against Britain and insisted that the United States had the right to intervene diplomatically. This firm stance surprised many Europeans and reinforced America's growing influence on the global stage. Even though Cleveland personally disliked imperialism and expansionist ambitions, Cleveland was also deeply opposed to American annexation efforts, particularly in Hawaii. After American businessmen and planters overthrew the Hawaiian monarchy, Cleveland investigated the situation and concluded that the overthrow was unjust. He attempted to restore Queen Liliuokalani to power, but faced resistance from Congress. Ultimately, Hawaii was not annexed during his presidency, a decision that highlighted Cleveland's commitment to legality and fairness, even when it conflicted with popular expansionist sentiment. As his presidency progressed, Cleveland's health declined and he became increasingly withdrawn from public life. Despite this, he continued to govern with a firm hand, issuing vetoes and maintaining control over executive decisions. His relationship with Congress remained tense, and by the end of his second term, the Democratic Party was deeply fractured, a division that would later shape the rise of new political movements at the turn of the 20th century. When Cleveland left office in 1897, he did so without seeking another term, firmly believing in the tradition of limited presidential service. His successor inherited a nation still recovering economically, but also moving toward a new era of industrial power and international presence. Cleveland retired from politics and spent his remaining years writing, teaching, and reflecting on public service. He died in 1908, leaving behind a reputation as a man of principle whose stubborn independence both defined his success and limited his popularity. The decision to include Grover Cleveland twice in the presidential dollar coin program reflects the importance of acknowledging the historical reality of his two separate presidencies. The United States Mint treated his second term as a distinct chapter, which is why the 2012 presidential dollar coin exists separately from the earlier Cleveland issue. This decision makes the coin series more historically accurate and educational, reinforcing the idea that the presidency is defined by terms of service rather than individuals alone. The 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin therefore symbolizes a return to power resilience in the face of defeat and the complexities of leadership during national crisis. The coin quietly represents debates over money, labor, foreign policy, and the role of government debates that still echo in modern political discussions. Holding the coin connects the present to a time when America was transforming from a post-Civil War nation into an industrial world power. Collectors and historians often view this coin as a bridge between two eras. Cleveland's policies reflected 19th-century values of limited government, while the challenges he faced pointed toward the more interventionist approaches of the 20th century. The coin becomes a tangible reminder of that transition, capturing a president who stood firmly on principle even as the nation moved beyond his philosophy. As part of a long-form documentary, this coin allows creators to explore not only Grover Cleveland's life, but also the broader social, economic, and political forces of the 1890s, including industrialization, labor struggles, monetary reform, and America's evolving role in the world. Each of these themes can be expanded endlessly, making the 2012 Grover Cleveland presidential dollar coin an excellent anchor for a deep, historical narrative that educates, engages, and connects viewers to the past through a small yet powerful piece of American coinage.